Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Awesome in Seattle podcast. This is your host, Christian Nossum with the Nossum Group, and I am joined today
by Joanna Beecher, also of the Nossum Group.
I love that you know just to jump in and say your name. I was going to introduce you. You just got to do it yourself. It's
I'm
great.
a natural. You know it.
I know. It's like you're meant for the stage. She did jazz hands if you're not watching on YouTube. All right, so today's episode is super important if you are considering buying a DADU as a buyer. This episode is everything a buyer needs to know about buying a DADU. They're very straightforward, but slightly confusing, and that's why we wanted to make this episode, because we've had a lot of buyers on. Joanna helps a lot of the buyers on our team. You help them and you kind of answer the same questions over and over and over again. I build DADUs and sell them, and I get the same questions that her buyers are asking from agents because they don't even understand. So it's a little bit unclear if you haven't done it before, but once you listen to this, it will hopefully be very clear. You will fully understand it. You'll know what to look out for. And you'll know that this is actually a very simple, very straightforward process and really not very different than buying a regular old house.
And not super new.
Yeah, no.
Newish,
no.
I guess, in
the
history of the world. But
9 years in Seattle. It's been going on. So
let's get some clarity on that.
Let's get some clarity. So some of the questions we will answer is it a house or is it a condo? Do I own the land? Is it any harder to buy than like a normal house or a townhouse or a condo? So we're going to go over all those things. So first off, Joanna, what the heck is a DADU, technically
What
speaking?
is it? Well, let me tell you. It stands for Detached Additional Dwelling Unit. Sorry.
Or
detached
accessory
dwelling unit. Basically, it's a standalone house that's built on the same land or original lot that the single-family home that's usually somewhere on the lot still is built on.
Yep.
The important thing on that is it is detached, not attached to the original house. You're not sharing walls like a traditional condo or townhouse. It feels like a real house because it is a real house. Exactly. And you've got your own entrance. You've got your own space, obviously. And a lot of times you also have your own yard space, your little outdoor space.
For example, to make this even simpler, I'll talk about one that I just did. We just remodeled a house, and then in the backyard, we split the backyard a little less than in half, and we built a DADU on the back half of the lot. And we gave them essentially the back half of the property's lot. So the original house from 1945 was there. And then we built a brand new DADU, detached accessory dwelling unit, in the back that it looks like a single family house. It's a 3-bed, 2.5-bath house with a garage, 2 stories, has its own yard, has its own parking. Like it, if you didn't know any better, you would say that's a house because it is a house.
Yes, exactly.
That is a DADU.
Yep.
And it's called this because it's also known as like a backyard cottage, but it's called this because the city of Seattle specifically, we have to increase density. We need more people living in the city, but we don't want to just have all these apartments or condos. And in these neighborhoods, Seattle is very neighborhood centric. We want to keep the vibe, the feel of a neighborhood and not just have, townhomes everywhere or condos everywhere.
Because know, as well as I do, people get turned off by that.
Yeah.
So this is another option for people who aren't into the traditional condo style living or all of those, in a row townhomes. A lot of people are very turned off by that in this day and age, and they're looking for that other option that is a bit more affordable in the more expensive neighborhoods, and this is it.
Exactly. So I just did an open house at a DADU on Saturday, and everyone that came through said, wow, this feels just like a house. And I said, that's because it is a house. And they were like, yeah, you're right, this is a house. And so, again, it's partly stigma where they just don't understand what it is.
It's just where they get confused because they're like, wait a second, this is technically a condo.
Yeah.
But only legally, right?
Yep,
It's
exactly.
A lot of DADUs in Seattle are legally set up as condos, but they don't feel or look like it. It's just a legal structure that allows people to sell the home separately.
Yep. That's really the only reason why it's a condo. So when people hear the word condo, they think of the big giant building with shared hallways and elevators.
It feels like an apartment.
Exactly, like an apartment. And they usually have like very high HOA dues and all this stuff. That is not what a DADU is at all. Most DADUs are what we call an air condo, which basically means you own the structure and the air rights of the home, meaning you own from the property line that you own all the way up to the sky, just like a regular house. So even though the legal paperwork says condo, quote unquote, you feel like you're living in a house because you are living in a house. And buying one is not any more complicated than buying a regular old house. It's a very straightforward process. There are some more legal documents that are involved with this, but they're very simple as well. So if you're buying a brand new DADU, you'll be receiving something called a public offering statement. This is just all the rules and regulations that are involved with the condo, quote unquote. They're super basic. Like, there is not much to it. Again, the only reason they're technically called condos is because that's the way the city of Seattle initially made it able to be sold separately from the original house that was there. So the only way you used to be able to do it was to make them condos. Now, over the last year, the city has changed it, and now you can do what's called a unit lot subdivision. Most developers aren't doing these. They're still doing the condo process.
I was about to say, I feel like I've just been continuing to see the condo process. Yeah.
So the reason why is because it's actually harder as a developer to do a unit lot subdivision. There's a lot more thought that has to go into it up front, and it's just a little more difficult. So with a condo, you have more ability to make some changes as the process goes through, where with a ULS, a unit lot subdivision, it's a little bit more difficult to do that. So you will receive that public offering statement. It's very basic. Some of the things I'm going to read what are in some of these. So you'll get a condo declaration, which is basically just the document that has all of the rules and regulations. These, just so you know, are boilerplate, meaning they're the same that basically everyone that has ever had a condo has, except these ones are stripped down a little bit even more to make them super, super basic. There's not much to them. You'll get a map, a condo map, showing the layout, who owns what on this one parcel of land. It will be parceled separately. If it isn't already by the time you buy it, it will be parceled separately, and you'll have your own property taxes for your unit versus the house that was there originally. There's usually
because you own the land.
Because you own the land, exactly. There's usually a common area, and it's usually just a walkway, like a 5-foot wide walkway, give or take a few feet, depending on how it's laid out. And that is just to get from the front of the parcel to the back of the parcel, because sometimes, depending on where the mail is delivered or where the garbage is picked up, you need access to both the front or the back. Both units do.
And sometimes there's a parking area, depending on how the lot is split up as well.
You'll also get a copy of the budget, which is super basic. You'll get a copy of sometimes the insurance that's involved with this as well. And that's basically it. There's really not a lot to it. The HOA dues, they're usually about $20 to $25 a month.
So and again, why is there an HOA? You know, people get nervous when they hear that, right? But with DADUs, these associations are a bit different than condos. Yes. Because how many people live in condo buildings? Usually a lot more than just a front house and a back house.
100 plus often.
Yeah. And the HOA that is involved here is just a lot more simple, and it's literally just 2 or 3 homeowners, and then it exists for the common areas, right? It exists for insurance, utilities, driveways, stormwater systems, and that's really it. And the homeowners are on the board.
Yep.
You can be on the board. Your
next door neighbor and you are going to be the board.
It's not a gigantic management.
It's just you two. If there's only 2 units, if there's 3 units or 4 units, it's just however many homeowners there are. Everyone will have a role on the board. You will have 1 meeting a year, unless you want to have more, but most of the time it's just 1 meeting a year. and it takes about 15 to 20 minutes to have that meeting.
And it's like a $25 HOA due. You know, and that varies a little bit depending on, you know,
the insurance,
things like that. But it's really low.
Yes.
And it would be something that you're paying anyway.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Let's talk about utilities, trash, and mail. I briefly touched on it, but why don't you go a little bit more in detail on this?
Okay. Every project is always different, right? But utilities are usually pretty straightforward. Some of them have fully separate utilities, but you often, or usually, you're going to share water and sewer. Usually the water line has a sub-meter, so you know how much each unit needs to pay. Trash is usually pretty simple too.
Yep.
It collects in the alley or the street, so both sides put your cans where they need to go. Ta-da!
Just like a regular house.
Just like a regular house.
Yep.
Mail is typically either individual boxes or it can be a group of boxes set somewhere else on the property. None of this is difficult. It's just maybe a little different depending on what and where you're buying.
Yeah. Let's talk about getting a mortgage, getting financing. Can you get a normal mortgage, like a normal single-family home loan? Yes, you can.
Oh my
God. So you don't have to get a condo mortgage. And I bring this up because getting condo financing, condo mortgage, same thing, those are generally a little bit higher interest rate. So they cost a little bit more. When you're buying a DADU, you get a straightforward single-family home loan. You don't have to get a condo loan, even though technically it's a condo. Yeah, it's
pretty cool.
It's very straightforward. You get the benefits of that.
Okay. Well, we're in an HOA, so can I change the exterior if I want to? Guess what? Yeah, usually you can. If you want to make a major exterior change, the only person that you really need to talk about that with is your neighbor, just because, you know, if it's going to be something crazy, like you want to attach a car to the front of your house. I don't know why that came up. But anyway, you probably want to get that approved with your neighbor just because. But, you know, honestly, at the end of the day, it's not going to be like as intense as like you can't even change your floor plan without going to the HOA. You know, it's not like that. Well, you have to go to the city for stuff like that anyway. But
exactly.
Anywho, once again, it's very easy, and this is a very just pared down HOA system.
Yep. Yeah, there's not much to it.
And why do they love DADUs? Why do buyers love DADUs? I think, you know, this is kind of what we touched on a little bit right at the beginning, and it's because I think it gets you into a neighborhood a lot of times in the Seattle area. This is what I notice. It gets you into a neighborhood that maybe otherwise you might be priced out of a bit, and it gets your foothold in there. And I think that is really important, especially for if you're looking specifically for a school district for your kids. That's a big deal. If you're like me and you really have your heart set on a neighborhood that you just love and it makes you feel really good, but like there's no way on earth you could afford a single family home, this is a great option for that.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that really needs to be touched on, because I think people see these and they don't understand them, so they rule them out. But I think it's a great option for a lot of people, especially first-time home buyers who are working their way into, you know, working their way up in the housing market of Seattle.
They're also generally new or newer, because, I mean, they've only been around since 2017. So the oldest one is going to be 9 years old at this point.
Yeah.
Not very old for
your
a house.
Water heater's still going to be in excellent shape.
Exactly. Because of that, since they are newer, they generally have better floor plans, better design, because it's not like a remodel or a house that's out of date.
Hopefully you're not going to have to do a $10,000 crawl space project right off the bat.
I don't know why you bring that up, Joanna, who just bought a house a year ago.
That's from 1943. It's fine. But you know, your pipes are going to be new. Your electric is going to be new. There are some big ticket expenses that when you buy a single family home in the Seattle area that isn't brand new, probably going to come up.
Yeah.
So
your maintenance on it is going to be cheap. You're, like you said, you're going to be in a better location usually because you're buying in a backyard. So it's not like you're getting a 5,000 square foot lot. You're getting like a 1,500 or 2,000 square foot lot or something like that. So a smaller lot, but again, the floor plan is usually a 2-story, and so the footprint of the building isn't sprawling, isn't taking up the whole yard. So just like the floor plan on the inside is efficient, the exterior is also efficient, and they usually lay it out pretty well so that you have a great yard. Even though it's small, it makes sense, and it's all usable.
And I will say, if you're a first-time home buyer, not biting off more than you can chew is a really good idea.
Yeah.
I will also say, if you're downsizing, this is also a great idea, and also great for multi-generational living. If you can put a DADU in your backyard, that allows, maybe your mom and dad or aunts and uncles or whoever it is that might be aging and need, a little more assistance. This is a great option for that.
Yeah, that's a good point. DADUs also have a lot more privacy than a townhouse with shared walls, or a condo for that matter. And it's at a price point that's often a little bit less than a comparably sized single family home in the same neighborhood.
Yep.
Even though it's new. So like one that we just put on the market that we built, you can either find about the same square footage of a house that was built 75 years ago in my neighborhood that hasn't really been touched in 75 years.
You're going to be putting a lot of money in for repairs on that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you could buy this brand new thing that has more than one bathroom. In fact, it has 2.5. Yeah.
Which in SFRs in Seattle, there's usually only one.
Exactly.
And you're paying millions of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah. So, buyers really value not sharing walls. Detached really makes a difference. And people love their privacy and some quiet outdoor space. That's the other thing. Like, it's not as condensed. Like, even though you're in the backyard, if it's done well, generally, you don't feel like you're in someone's backyard. You're not like a fishbowl all the time where you feel like everyone's looking at you or anything like that. It's usually very quiet, very peaceful, and it feels great. And
I'm going to say this too, as a person who bought a single family home, not directly in Seattle, but just south. Even I have a lovely big yard, and I, have neighbors on either side. I still feel very close to them.
Yeah.
And they are not in my backyard, but they are right next door. And it doesn't feel that it would be the same, if not better, actually, building a DADU in my backyard, which could be on the roster.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do want to say, because apparently I'm Miss Repair today, who wants to talk about it. But one of the benefits of getting one of these newer built DADUs is the warranty, a new home warranty, builder warranty. That gives you so much peace of mind. I wish I had one. But, Seattle homes that are coming of age, like that were built in the 40s and 50s, they do need care, and they do need work, and it's not free, and you don't get a warranty on that house, and you pay for it. So that's just something to think about.
And one tip I like to give for people that do buy new construction is you do generally have a 1-year warranty. And what that covers is really anything that happens. As small as nail pops. So in the drywall, they put them in with screws or nails. And over time, for that first year while the house is settling, because every house is going to settle, there are some times where nails will pop out just a little bit, just like a half an inch, quarter of an inch, or even smaller. Your grout will crack here and there. All these little tiny things, you can actually, and the tip here is to get a piece of paper or a shared note in your phone, whoever your partner is, if you have one living there, each of you update the note or update the piece of paper that you hang inside like a kitchen cabinet. And every time you notice a nail pop or grout crack or any weird little thing happen, write it down the first time that you see it, because you start to get blind to it the third, fourth, fifth time that you see it, and you will forget. So make this note the very first time you see something a little issue pop up, and then set an alarm for 11 months down the road to contact the builder and say, hey, I'd love to schedule my 1-year warranty walkthrough, and show them the list. You can even take a picture or share the note with them and say, here's all the things that came up. When can you come out? And then they'll come out and they'll repair all those things free of charge, because that's part of it.
I wish I had that for mine.
I know. I wish I had that for every house.
Right? It'd be amazing.
Yeah. Let's talk about appreciation, because home values are a huge thing. And this is where I think DADUs really shine. So although they are priced similarly to a townhome, they appreciate more closely aligned to a single family home. So generally, if you're watching on YouTube, single family homes appreciate faster than townhomes. Townhomes generally appreciate faster than condos. DADUs are kind of in between the townhomes and single family homes in terms of appreciation. So if you are wanting a good investment, a DADU is a fantastic one because it falls more in line with that. Any last tips you want to give?
Go tour a DADU.
Yeah.
Just do it. Check it out.
Yeah.
I think it's important. I think a lot of people don't. A lot of my buyers are scared, which is crazy. I'm like, well, I have 2 investors on the team that build them, so let's go check them out. Yeah. And then once they do, they actually get a lot more excited about it. Exactly. I will say that.
And I'll say that's 100% true. Everyone that's walked through, either that I've walked through as helping them as buyers, or if I'm holding an open house at one, when they walk through, they're always blown away. They're like, wow, this is way bigger than I thought. Or when we talk about it with friends and then we have them come over and we show it to them, they're like, wait, what? This is what you built? I thought you were talking like a little shed. And we're like, no, this is a
I don't think Backyard Cottage does it justice. But,
no, it doesn't.
You know.
But that's how most people like have heard of it.
Well, they think like a carriage house. Yeah. Like it's different.
No.
It is much different.
They're generally, so in the city of Seattle, the limit used to be only 1,000 square feet. Now that limit is pushed up to 1,200 square feet.
Thank
So
goodness.
they are getting bigger and bigger.
And that does not include garage, by the way.
No, that doesn't include garage. So it does make a big difference. You need to go out there and look at them if you're in that price point, in that budget, if it does fit your budget, and square footage and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Also, the square footage of a DADU is usually very efficiently laid out. So if you're thinking you need like a 12 or 14 or 1,500 square foot house, maybe still check out a DADU, because the last one I built, even though the limit is 1,000, it was a little over 1,100 square feet that is actually finished based on slope, and if you're under 7 feet for the vault in the ceiling, that doesn't count towards that square footage. So there's ways to kind of game the system in a sense. Yeah. And so 1,100 square feet feels much closer to a 1,400 square feet house that's very boxed up and not open.
And there are different layouts for DADUs.
For sure.
So definitely, I've seen some not great. Yeah. And I've seen some really cool ones. So there's a lot of option out there. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for this episode of the Awesome in Seattle podcast. If you have any questions about DADUs, feel free to reach out. If you are a potential home buyer and you want to learn about this more, come to our free class.
Yes. Have a beer.
Have a beer with us. Go to beersandhomebuying.com. Sign up for our free monthly home buying classes. They're only an hour long. Then we stick around and do some Q&A for like another 15, 20 minutes. They're free.
They're
fun.
We
have free beer. Super laid back. There is zero pressure at all. We have had thousands of people come through this class over a decade now that we've hosted it. We've helped hundreds of people that have come successfully buy. So if you are at all thinking about buying, this is the place to go. You're going to just walk away with a lot more knowledge.
Don't stay scared. Don't stay in the iffy point.
Yeah.
This helps you get very clear.
Yep. And the other thing too, most people that come to our free home buyer class, they are probably 2 to 3 years away from actually buying. So don't think that like you have to come because you're going to buy next week. That's not true at all. It's most likely going to be.
We can help you though.
A year or two. Yeah. I mean, there are definitely people that come and they're like, hey, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And we help them. Yeah. But most people are probably 2 or 3 years out.
Yeah.
And then we just help you create a roadmap on how to successfully buy. And that means budgeting and getting your credit repaired if it needs it, or just understanding the layout of neighborhoods and what you get for your money in different spots. So we teach you all sorts of good stuff.
It's not impossible. I promise you that.
Exactly.
So you got to learn about it.
Yep. Okay, that's it for this episode of the Awesome in Seattle podcast. We hope you learned a lot. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Other than that, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.